There is a single decision, one shift so powerful that the moment you make it, people will never see you the same way again. Not because you shouted, not because you demanded their respect, but because you stopped playing the role they wrote for you. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." And when you finally embody this truth, you stop begging for approval and start radiating quiet confidence. Most people shrink themselves to be accepted. They over-explain, over-give, and overstay at tables where their worth is never recognized. But the Stoic understands the world does not reward noise. It rewards clarity. This video isn't about tricks or manipulation. It's about the silent shift that reorders how others treat you. Without you saying a word, a shift that reclaims your self-worth, fortifies your psychological boundaries, and teaches the world that your presence is a privilege, not an assumption. If you do this once, even just once, people will feel it. Their energy will shift, because energy never lies. And when it happens, you will no longer chase respect. Respect will chase you. Here's a hard truth. Most people never face you. Teach the world how to treat you, not through speeches, not through begging for respect, but through what you allow, what you tolerate, and what you stay silent about. Look around. How many people live on autopilot, overextending for others? Saying yes when they're burning inside to say no. Giving their time and energy to people who haven't earned it. And what happens? They get taken for granted, overlooked, and disrespected, not because they lack value, but because they've made their presence too cheap, too available, too negotiable. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. When you decide that your energy, your time, and your attention are sacred, you send an unshakable message: I'm no longer easy to consume." Withdrawing access isn't about revenge. It isn't about games or punishing people. It's about psychological boundaries, protecting your mind, your peace, and your presence from those who only show up to drain you. It's like closing the door to your most private room and only letting in those who've proven they belong. Here's the harsh reality: the more freely you give, the less people value you. It's human nature. What comes without cost is rarely appreciated. If you always answer the phone, they assume you'll never stop. If you always forgive, they assume they'll never lose you. If you always shrink yourself, they assume that's your natural place. But everything shifts. The moment you make one decision, your access must now be earned. Imagine it: those calls you used to answer instantly, you now let ring. Those texts you rushed to respond to, you leave unread. The endless favors you once performed, you calmly decline. You don't make a scene. You don't explain. You don't broadcast your boundaries. You simply let your absence speak louder than your words ever could. This is where emotional intelligence comes in. A person with emotional maturity knows they don't need to please everyone, carry dead weight, or chase connections that deplete them. By withdrawing access, you're teaching others the lesson they'll never forget. Your presence is a privilege, not a guarantee. And here's the beauty: It doesn't just transform your relationships, it transforms you, because the deeper truth is this: your self-worth has never been about how much you sacrifice. It has always been about how much you honor yourself. When you finally say, "No more," you're not being cold, you're being clear. You're not selfish, you're self-aware. You're not distant, you're protecting your inner peace. And the silence that follows, it rattles people. They start to notice what they once took for granted. They wonder why you're no longer available, why you're no longer pouring into them, why they suddenly feel the void of your absence. That's power. That's leverage. That's respect without a word spoken. From there, something incredible happens. The wrong people fall away, and the right ones step forward. You'll stop attracting those who exploit you and start drawing in those who honor your presence without being told. This is the foundation of a high-performance mindset. Your energy is no longer scattered. You invest in what elevates you, not in what drains you. You stop wasting time on chaos, and you channel everything into growth, clarity, and strength. Withdrawing access isn't the end of anything. It's the beginning of your evolution. It's the moment you stop being a pawn in someone else's game and start living like the strategist of your own life. In a world where everyone is shouting to be heard, the most powerful person in the room is the one who doesn't rush to speak. Silence unsettles. Observation sharpens. Together, they form a kind of quiet dominance that noise will never match. Most people can't handle silence. They equate talking with power, believing that filling the air with arguments, explanations, or bragging somehow makes them strong. But here's the Stoic truth: the one who speaks less sees more. When you choose silence, you stop reacting from emotion and start responding from intelligence. You see beneath the surface into motives, insecurities, contradictions. You start to notice the way someone's voice cracks when they lie, the way their smile fades when truth creeps too close, the way they shift topics when accountability is about to corner them. This is emotional intelligence in action. Words might deceive, but energy doesn't. People reveal themselves constantly if you know how to watch. And when you train yourself to observe, instead of over-explaining, you put yourself in a position of psychological strength. Think about it. The person who always needs to talk, always needs to defend themselves, always needs to prove a point, that's insecurity on display. But the one who holds their tongue, that's someone with self-worth so solid, they don't need validation. The less you speak, the more unpredictable you become. People can't map your emotions, can't manipulate your responses, can't weaponize your words. That unpredictability makes you magnetic, even intimidating. In silence, you create a mystery that forces others to lean in. But silence isn't passivity. It's discipline. It's choosing not to waste your voice where it won't matter. It's conserving your energy for the right moment, the right strike, the right decision. And in that restraint lies a high-performance mindset, deliberate, precise, strategic. Observation is like sharpening a sword in secret. While others burn themselves out performing for attention, you're studying, learning, calculating. You're 3 steps ahead because you noticed the details they were too distracted to see. And here's the paradox. When you speak less, your words carry more weight. Every pause, every sentence, every look becomes amplified. People respect your silence because it forces them to sit with their own noise. This is how you build psychological boundaries without saying a word. You stop giving away access to your emotional state. You stop giving manipulators the keys to your reactions. You stop being predictable. Instead, you move with calm, with calculation, with inner peace that others can't rattle. The Stoics mastered this art. Epictetus reminded us, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. To observe is to arm yourself with truth. To speak less is to strip the enemy of weapons. So, learn to watch longer than you respond. Let people reveal themselves while you remain still. Let them underestimate you while you quietly collect every detail. Then, when you finally speak, let your words land like thunder after a long silence. That is not just communication, it's control. Before the world respects you, you must respect yourself, especially in the unseen hours when no one is watching. Respect isn't built in the spotlight. It's forged in silence, in the private choices that either sharpen your character or erode it. Here's the hard truth: if you neglect yourself in private, no amount of praise in public will save you. Because people don't just respond to what you say, they feel the weight of who you are. Energy always reveals the truth. Respecting yourself in private starts with the way you talk to yourself. Do you beat yourself down after failure? Or do you build yourself back up? Do you abandon your discipline the moment it gets uncomfortable? Or do you hold the line when no one's there to applaud? This is where self-worth is tested. Not in the grand gestures, but in the daily disciplines. Getting up when you don't feel like it. Choosing focus over distraction. Walking away from environments that poison your peace. Speaking to yourself with honesty and strength instead of doubt and self-sabotage. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself every morning at dawn. When you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. That's the foundation of self-respect, doing the work. Even when it's unseen. Even when no one else cares. When you respect yourself privately, you send a signal to your subconscious, I matter. My energy is sacred. My future is worth protecting. And once that belief takes root, others begin to mirror it back. But let's be clear, self-respect is not ego. Ego is loud, desperate for validation. Real self-respect is quiet. It's the quiet decision to eat clean, train your body, guard your mind, and protect your boundaries when nobody's keeping score. Most people fail here. They crumble in private and then overcompensate in public. They chase approval, followers, applause, thinking the outside world can fix what's broken inside. But that's a trap. No amount of external validation can fill the void of internal neglect. Emotional intelligence means recognizing this cycle. It means knowing that if you constantly betray yourself behind closed doors, the world will sense it. No matter how well you perform in front of them, when you respect yourself in private, you become unshakable. Your confidence is no longer tied to compliments. Your peace is no longer hostage to other people's approval. Your boundaries become natural. non-negotiable, and effortless. People feel it the moment they meet you without you saying a word. This is the essence of a high-performance mindset. Success is not random, it's a reflection of the standards you uphold in silence. The athlete who trains when no one's watching. The leader who studies when others are partying. The individual who chooses integrity when cutting corners would be easier. Respecting yourself privately doesn't mean perfection. It means alignment. It means your actions match your values, even when it's inconvenient. It means you no longer live two lives, the one you show the world, and the one you hide in the dark. And here's the shift. The more you respect yourself in private, the less you tolerate disrespect in public. You stop settling for crumbs because you know you deserve the whole table. You stop begging to be chosen because you've already chosen yourself. You stop apologizing for boundaries because your entire energy radiates that you're not negotiable. So ask yourself, when the world isn't watching, do you live in a way that honors who you are? Do you carry yourself as someone who knows their worth? Because in the end, the life you create will always reflect the standards you enforce in private. Respect yourself in secret, and the world will have no choice but to respect you in the open. Every human interaction you have, every friendship, every relationship, every opportunity is filtered through one thing: your standard. Whether you realize it or not, you are constantly teaching people how to treat you by what you allow, what you tolerate, and what you walk away from. If your standard is low, your life will mirror it with painful accuracy. You'll find yourself surrounded by people who drain your energy, environments that dull your growth, and cycles that rob you of peace. But the moment you raise the bar, everything shifts. Suddenly, people either rise to meet you or they naturally fall away. And both outcomes are victories. Emotional intelligence means understanding this. Your worth isn't up for negotiation. Every time you bend your values just to keep someone comfortable, you silently teach them that your boundaries are flexible, and once they learn that, they'll test you again and again. The Stoics would call this living in alignment with nature, choosing to act in accordance with your principles, not your fears. Marcus Aurelius put it simply: if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. That's the core of setting standards: clarity, consistency, courage. Here's the trap most people fall into. They set standards when things are easy but abandon them. The moment loneliness or pressure arrives, they say, "I deserve respect," but tolerate disrespect just to avoid being alone. They say, "I value peace," but let toxic people back in because chaos feels familiar. That's not a standard, that's wishful thinking. To truly live with self-worth, your standard has to be non-negotiable. It's not something you enforce only when it's convenient. It's something you uphold, especially when it costs you. That's when people learn you're serious. And yes, raising your standards will make some people uncomfortable. They'll call you difficult, cold, or too much. But that's not a reflection of you. It's a reflection of their inability to rise higher. Never apologize for demanding respect. Never shrink so others can feel taller. Because here's the paradox: the right people will never be intimidated by your standard. They'll be inspired by it. The ones who belong in your life won't resent the bar you've set. they'll be grateful for it. That's how you separate those who are meant to walk with you from those who are only meant to distract you. Setting high standards is also the foundation of a high-performance mindset. Think about athletes, leaders, visionaries. Their greatness comes not from talent alone, but from the standards they refuse to compromise on. They demand discipline from themselves, and in doing so, they command respect from the world. And this isn't about arrogance. It's about alignment. When your standards are rooted in your values, not your ego, you don't need to shout them. People feel it in how you carry yourself. Your silence communicates it. Your choices reinforce it. Your presence enforces it. But here's the key. Once you set the standard, you must guard it like your peace depends on it, because it does. Don't waver the moment temptation knocks. Don't backtrack when pressure shows up. Don't dilute your boundaries to keep temporary company. Every time you compromise, you chip away at your own foundation. Psychological boundaries exist to protect your energy, not to punish others. When you raise your standard, you stop entertaining inconsistency, dishonesty, and disrespect. You stop wasting years trying to fix what was never aligned in the first place. Instead, you create space for clarity, peace, and people who actually value you. So set the standard, raise the bar, and never lower it, even if it means walking alone for a season, because that lonely season will build you into someone untouchable, someone anchored, someone who cannot be bought or swayed. Your peace lives at the level of your standards. Your power begins the moment you declare, "I am no longer available for anything less than what honors my worth." There's a sacred kind of strength in walking away without noise. No arguments, no explanations, no grand exit speeches, just silence. It's a power most people will never understand, because they think strength is proven by how loud you can get. But real strength is measured in restraint. Most people stay too long. They linger in friendships that drain them, in relationships that break them, in environments that strip away their light. Why? Because they fear what comes after goodbye. They're terrified of being alone, of facing the silence, of no longer being needed. But the Stoic knows silence isn't emptiness, it's freedom. Walking away without drama is a declaration of self-worth. It says, "I don't need you to understand my boundaries for them to be valid. I don't need your approval to protect my peace. I don't need your permission to honor myself." That is emotional intelligence at its finest. The ability to master your own response, rather than being baited into endless conflict. When you refuse to perform in their theater of chaos, you strip them of their power. You stop feeding the fire. And without your energy, their drama burns out. And here's the beauty: your absence speaks louder than your words ever could. People remember the silence you leave behind more than any angry speech you might have given. They remember the consistency they took for granted, the patience they exploited, the loyalty they abused. And when it's gone, they feel the loss. But by then, you've already moved forward. Not bitter, not broken clear. Clarity is your revenge. Inner peace is your weapon. Walking away without drama is not weakness. It's psychological strength. It's choosing to preserve your energy for growth rather than wasting it on noise. It's refusing to negotiate your value with people who never truly valued you. It's saying, "I'd rather be alone with my dignity than surrounded by people who diminish me." This is what a high-performance mindset looks like in relationships. You don't waste years proving your loyalty to people who repeatedly fail to prove theirs. You don't give second chances to those who damaged you intentionally. You don't explain the same boundary over and over. You enforce it once, then disappear. The Stoics taught us that our reactions are always within our control. Seneca said, "He who does wrong is the unhappier man." When you walk away quietly, you let them sit with their own actions, their own guilt, their own consequences. You don't need to fight. The weight of their choices will do the work for you. So the next time someone disrespects you, betrays you, or minimizes your worth, don't write a monologue. Don't light the bridge on fire. Just go. Protect your peace. Guard your energy. And never look back. Because here's the truth, the world doesn't need to know why you left. The right people will never force you to explain your value. The wrong ones will never believe your explanation anyway. So walk away without drama, without noise, without hesitation, and let your silence remind them of what they lost. Silence is not weakness. It is not surrender. It is a weapon, and when you learn how to wield it with precision, you become unstoppable. Most people can't stand silence. They fill every gap with noise, explanations, apologies, or endless justifications. They don't realize that every unnecessary word gives away power. Every over-explanation lowers their self-worth. Every forced conversation shows insecurity, but silence unsettles people. It makes them uncomfortable. It forces them to confront themselves. That's why Stoicism teaches us control your tongue, and you control the room. Selective silence is not about ignoring everything. It's about choosing when your words matter and when your silence matters more. It's about having the emotional intelligence to know that not every insult needs a rebuttal. Not every provocation deserves a reaction. And not every opinion requires your defense. When you stop reacting to every attempt to pull you into chaos, you become unpredictable. And unpredictability breeds fear. They can't manipulate you if you don't feed the game. They can't guilt-trip you if you refuse to respond. They can't control you if you don't give them access to your emotions. Think about it. Predators sniff out weakness by watching reactions. They insult you to see if you flinch. They provoke you to see if you explode. They test your boundaries to see if you fold. But when your face is calm, your words few, and your silence heavy, they lose their grip. You've shifted the power dynamic without lifting a finger. Silence is also strategic. It sharpens your observation. When you stop speaking, you start seeing. You notice the cracks in their story, the insecurity behind their arrogance, the hesitation behind their confidence. People always reveal themselves when you stay quiet long enough. And what you learn in silence protects you from betrayal, manipulation, and wasted time. This is why silence is the companion of strength. A disciplined man or woman doesn't rush to defend their worth. Their worth speaks for itself. Silence makes you magnetic in a world addicted to noise. It creates mystery in a culture obsessed with overexposure. And mystery is power. But here's the key. Silence must be intentional. Random withdrawal without clarity looks like weakness. Selective silence, however, looks like mastery. You choose when to speak because your words carry weight. You choose when to stay silent because your energy is too valuable to waste. The Stoics remind us, it is better to trip with the feet than with the tongue. Every unnecessary word is a potential regret, but silence never betrays you. So the next time someone tries to bait you, don't rise to it. The next time someone underestimates you, don't explain yourself. And the next time someone disrespects you, don't argue. Withdraw your voice. Let them choke on the silence. Because silence isn't empty. It's full of power. It speaks louder than anger, clearer than arguments, sharper than revenge. And when you master selective silence, you no longer need to demand respect. Respect comes to you before the world can respect you, before anyone fears losing you. You must first respect yourself when nobody's watching. That is where true power is forged, in the shadows, in the silence, in the choices you make when the applause is gone. Most people crave external validation. They want the world to clap before they've even built anything worth clapping for. They rely on compliments to feel confident, followers to feel significant, and approval to feel alive. But that dependency is weakness. It makes you a prisoner of opinion. The Stoics taught the opposite. Strength begins within. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, every morning, you have power over your mind, not outside events. That means your self-worth cannot be outsourced. It must be rooted in how you treat yourself when no one else can see. Respecting yourself in private looks like discipline, waking up early even when no one will praise you for it, saying no to distractions that no one else will ever know you avoided, keeping promises to yourself, even if you're the only witness. That's the soil where inner peace grows. And here's the truth, you can't fake it. If you secretly disrespect yourself by breaking your own boundaries, by drowning in excuses, by sabotaging your growth, the world will eventually see through you. Your energy always tells the truth. People read it before you say a word. This is why emotional intelligence begins with self-talk. When you fail, do you tear yourself down, or do you build yourself back up? When you succeed, do you dismiss it, or do you honor it? Every whisper you say to yourself in private becomes the script the world follows. If you don't value your presence, others won't either. Respecting yourself in private also means refusing to play small. Stop begging to be chosen. Stop apologizing for existing. Stop shrinking in rooms that can't handle your full presence. You don't belong where your soul has to suffocate just to be tolerated. And yes, it's lonely at first. The moment you raise your standards, the wrong people will call you selfish. They'll say you've changed. They'll accuse you of being cold. But understand, their discomfort is proof of your growth. You don't owe them explanations. You owe yourself alignment. The high-performance mindset doesn't settle for crumbs. It doesn't wait for permission to thrive. It doesn't abandon self-respect for temporary company. It chooses solitude over chaos, clarity over confusion, and discipline over weakness. When you master this, something shifts. You no longer over-explain. You no longer fear being misunderstood. You no longer compromise your psychological boundaries for the comfort of others. You carry yourself with a calm presence that says, I respect myself too much to play small. And that's when the world starts to notice. They can't quite put their finger on it, but they feel it. Your silence speaks differently. Your decisions carry more weight. Your presence feels untouchable. Why? Because you respected yourself in the dark. And now you shine in the light. There is a silent contract you sign with the world the moment you decide what your standard is. Every relationship, every opportunity, every conversation, whether you realize it or not, flows through that invisible bar you set for yourself. The hard truth. If your standard is low, life will mirror it back to you with painful precision. You'll attract half efforts, fake loyalty, shallow love, and toxic cycles that eat away at your self-worth. Why? Because you've silently taught others that you'll accept less. But the second you raise that bar, when you finally say, I am no longer available for anything beneath my value, your reality begins to restructure itself. That's the moment you step out of chaos and into clarity. This isn't about arrogance. It's about alignment. A person with emotional intelligence knows you don't bend to be chosen. You don't lower your boundary to make others comfortable. You don't dilute your strength to keep fragile egos safe. That's not love. That's self-betrayal. The Stoics understood this deeply. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." When you tolerate disrespect, dishonesty, and mediocrity, you are wasting life. You are allowing your sacred time and energy to be drained by people who don't even respect their own. Here's the reality. People will test your boundaries the moment they sense they are flexible. Once they know you'll fold under pressure, they'll push again and again. And every time you compromise, you erode the foundation of your confidence. So set the standard. Set it with clarity, courage, and conviction. Say to yourself, I will not shrink to fit into small rooms. I will not explain myself to those committed to misunderstanding me. I will not lower my expectations just to keep temporary company. Because when you hold the line, two things happen. The wrong people fall away, and the right people rise to meet you. Both outcomes are gifts. Make no mistake, high standards make you rare. They make you misunderstood. They will say you're too much. But here's the truth. You were never meant to be convenient. You were meant to be consistent with your calling. And once you set that standard, you must protect it with the discipline of a warrior. Don't waver when loneliness whispers. Don't backtrack when pressure mounts. Don't betray yourself for temporary validation. Guard your boundaries like your inner peace depends on it, because it does. Understand this. Your standard is your compass. It helps you say no when the wrong thing looks tempting. It helps you walk away, not with bitterness, but with dignity. It transforms your energy from reactive to unshakable. And here's the paradox. The higher your standard, the calmer your spirit becomes. Chaos no longer excites you. Drama no longer hooks you. You stop begging for crumbs because you know you are the table. That's why setting the standard is not just about relationships. It's about self-mastery. It's about choosing a high-performance mindset that refuses mediocrity in your work, in your health, in your thoughts. Because the world rises or falls to the level of your standard, and so do you. So stop apologizing for expecting respect. Stop diluting your worth to be accepted. Stop negotiating your boundaries to keep people who were never meant to stay. Stand tall. Stand firm. And let the world adjust or walk away. Because here's the truth. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you allow. Set the standard. Never lower it. And watch your entire life rise with it. There is a rare kind of strength the world doesn't understand: the power to walk away in silence. No explosions. No dramatic exits. No desperate need to prove a point. Just quiet clarity. Just calm resolve. Just the kind of inner peace that doesn't scream, but simply leaves. Most people stay far longer than they should stuck in toxic friendships, draining relationships, or dead-end environments. They stay because they fear judgment, they fear loneliness, they fear what others will say. So they drag their spirit through cycles of chaos, hoping for change that never comes. But the Stoics taught us a higher way. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." In other words, stop caring how people interpret your decisions. Walking away doesn't need approval. It doesn't need applause. It only needs courage. And here's the truth. When you leave quietly, you show a level of emotional intelligence most people will never reach. You show that your self-worth is not dependent on someone else understanding it. You show that your peace matters more than their opinion. Walking away without drama doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care enough about your soul to stop bleeding for those who never valued your presence. It means you care enough about your future to stop investing in places that dishonor your spirit. It means you've grown beyond the need to explain what should have been obvious all along. Think about it. The loudest exits, the yelling, the accusations, the desperate monologues. Who are they really for? They're for validation. They're a last-ditch effort to make someone see your worth. But here's the secret: if they didn't see it while you stayed, they'll never see it when you leave. So leave quietly. Leave with grace. Leave without warning shots or final speeches. Because the absence of your presence will echo louder than anything you could ever say. They'll feel the silence where your energy once lived. They'll remember the consistency they abused. They'll taste the loss in ways that words could never deliver. And while they sit in that echo, you move forward. You build. You heal. You rise. Without resentment. Without bitterness. Without needing revenge. Because the best revenge isn't destruction, it's distance, it's peace. It's living so well that their memory no longer has the power to touch you. This is what true psychological boundaries look like. Choosing to remove yourself without explaining, without defending, without performing. It's not cold, it's clear. It's not selfish, it's self-respect. It's not weakness, it's wisdom. The discipline to walk away silently is a high-performance mindset in itself. It proves you've outgrown the need for chaos. It proves you no longer need to attend every battle you're invited to. It proves you've discovered something more valuable than winning an argument, winning your peace. And here's the paradox: the quieter you leave, the louder your absence will become. They'll replay every moment. They'll search for your energy. They'll wonder why their games no longer work. But you won't be there to explain. You'll be too busy living. So the next time you feel the pull to shout, to prove, to dramatize your exit, don't. Step back, walk out, and let silence be your final statement. Because silence has a power words will never carry. Walk away without drama. That's how the Stoic leaves, not with noise, but with nobility. Not with anger, but with authority. Not with revenge, but with freedom. There's one shift that flips your entire world upside down. One decision that silently changes how people see you, how they treat you, and how they respond when you walk into a room. It's not louder words. It's not proving yourself. It's not chasing validation. It's this: you finally choose yourself. The moment you stop negotiating your worth, stop begging to be chosen, stop overgiving just to feel valuable, you break the cycle that kept you small. And here's the paradox: when you stop asking for respect, the world starts giving it to you. Why? Because respect isn't earned by noise, it's commanded by presence. And presence comes from self-respect, from unshakable psychological boundaries, from knowing your value so deeply that you don't flinch when others overlook it. Think about it. How many times have you compromised just to be accepted? How many times have you lowered your standard just to keep someone from leaving? How many times have you tolerated disrespect disguised as love that ends the moment you realize your silence, your withdrawal, your refusal to play their game? That's your weapon. That's your leverage. That's your high-performance mindset in action. The world is built on energy. When you carry yourself with self-worth, people feel it. They don't know why, but something about you unsettles them. Your calm becomes louder than their chaos. Your presence becomes heavier than their noise. Your restraint becomes more intimidating than their aggression. And once you master this shift, you'll notice something remarkable. You don't need to chase anymore. The right people rise to meet you. The wrong people fall away. The games stop working. The manipulation loses its power, because you no longer feed it with your attention. The Stoics knew this truth well. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Stop arguing for your value. Embody it. Stop begging for peace. Live it. Stop waiting for respect. Command it." That's the shift from asking to owning.